And we're live. Hi, how are you? You're watching TC San. I'm Rup Rai. Today is Friday, so we are going to be. Today's segment is called the Community Update. So we'll be speaking to Jag Sahota, who is the MP in Calgary Skyview, about a couple of things that she's been announcing on her Facebook page. So let me invite her onto the screen. Hello.
Hi. Hello, everyone.
You must be really busy.
I'm so sorry for being a little late. I apologize for that.
No, that's fine. I was actually panicking. I was like, I have to go on air by myself. What am I going to talk about?
Me coming and running late. But you know this. You know this, Rup, right? That this happens.
Yeah. No, because we schedule it, so it has to go live at that time, at the time that we schedule it. And I already scheduled it 5 minutes late because I know how it is with any politicians, to be honest. It's like, they're always right on time, or they're always running short of time. So I scheduled it 5 minutes later anyway. And then here I was sitting, I was talking to Ali. I was like, Ali, maybe you should come on with me because I didn't even prep anything. I didn't even read anything today.
How about your husband? You told me once that he does come on.
Yeah, he comes like every Thursday. So I think people are bored of him. I'm bored of him too. So.
Oh, okay. So there couldn't be 2 consecutive days with him.
That's too much, Pavan. I'm already thinking of cutting him down. All right. Well, it's lovely to see you again. And you've been doing great things. I've been reading. I mean, of course, I've been following you up on Facebook. So is everyone else. So tell us about this $2.8 million that you say that you have secured. What is this money? Where is it coming from? Where is it going to?
It's the summer job program. And it's basically coming from the government, and it's going to my constituency, and the people in my riding basically will have access to that. Small businesses, nonprofit organizations basically will get the financial support that's much needed for the last years, especially given that we had COVID and a lot of them suffered with closures and all that. So there will be all this money coming into my riding. I'm really excited about that.
So does every MP get that for their riding, or did you specifically get only for your riding?
Well, I got for the list of businesses in my riding, yes, I got my share of it, but MPs get it, yes.
Okay. So what is this Canada Summer Job Program?
Basically, the focus is to make sure that, students have jobs in the riding, basically. And over the last year, kids who are coming out of school and universities had trouble getting jobs last year. So a lot of my constituents were asking me, they're like, they're worried about their kids coming out of universities, like having done, engineering, law, or other, degrees, and not finding the job here in Canada. So it's been quite a topic of discussion with me and my constituents over the last year, and kids are starting to get worried. Remember when we came out, we were like so excited. I'm a lawyer now. I'm going to find the job that I'm going to live the life of a lawyer, those kind of things. And COVID has made it difficult over the last year to find these jobs. So what it does is what happens is any student between the age of 18 to 30 will have who can apply to these businesses can get access to, basically, rather than doing volunteer work, you get paid. You get life experience, you build relationships, you get work skills, all those things, and get paid as well.
So this Canada Summer Job Program, it has been effective. I think it's already, the applications for this year have already been closed, right? Like it was in February.
So the deadline has passed.
For this year. But the deadline for the next year, the 2.8 million that you're talking about, does that apply to this year, or does that apply to next year?
It applies to this year. So the deadline was in February to apply, and and we got the money now. So the approvals came in. So the way it
Okay.
works is that there's businesses who apply for these jobs to hire students in the summer. Um, and then what happens is the applications are looked at, rated from, 1 to 5 or 10, whatever that is. And then it comes to me for approval. And then I sign off on it. And that's how it works.
So all the businesses that applied for this through you, and they got the money now, and
Well,
they would be able to hire students.
they applied through the program, and in the
Yeah.
end, it's us making the call and saying, "Hey, you got this much money." So there was
Okay.
a lot of back and forth between myself and the regional office here in Alberta, basically trying to make sure that those who had applied got the money, especially like the nonprofit organizations, because they depend a lot on the fundraising, and last year had been tough for them as well. All the grants that they normally get or the fundraising money that they have, people were going through financial hardship themselves, so there was a lot of people who couldn't contribute to nonprofit organizations, and this helps. But can you
Mhm.
imagine, like, as even as a student, you get to go to the place where you want to work or had been volunteering, but now you get paid as well, right? Financial support is very important, especially students when they go back to school back in September, like, this year, then they'll have the money there to be independent and to be able to, move on in life and have learned the experience and the skills. It's a win-win situation, both for the businesses, nonprofit organization, and students.
So out of this 2.8 million, on average, a small business in your writing, how much money do they get on an average?
That's not how it works on average. It depends on what the application, how much they asked for in the application. For example, say they wanted somebody, 2 employees for 8 hours a day for 20 weeks.
Mhm.
Then it's at minimum wage at 15, and then you go based on that. So there's no set amount for each business.
And
It
how many
depends on.
businesses, sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
How many businesses got approved in the writing of Northeast?
111.
111.
Yeah, and that
Wow.
includes the nonprofit organizations as well, like the gurdwaras, the churches, the mosques. Yeah, so there's been a lot of that.
We have a question from Puneet who asks, how is the program monitored after approval?
That's Canada Summer Job Program, that they will monitor it. It doesn't go through us. It's basically them. Our involvement is making sure that people in the riding know about it. They're applying for it. That's why I put it in my post, and I said, well, the deadline has passed for this year, but apply next year, because it's important to advertise and important to encourage our students and young people to take opportunities like this and still at the same time provide financial support to the businesses.
Especially communities, ethnic communities or the marginalized communities, such that information like this usually doesn't filter down. It doesn't go to people who need it the most. So it's important to get this information out.
And last year, when that was my first year when I had access to this, I called people and said, hey, there's this program, you should be applying for it. I was very excited, and people were like, what is this? We've never heard of this before. So it's
Mhm.
about, making it visible in the community as well, so that people are applying and taking these opportunities. Because even this year, I had some money left over after people had applied. So I went through the whole list of 111 businesses, and I made sure that those who needed it the most got it as well, right? So that was my involvement in it. I know my constituency, my riding's been suffering even before the pandemic. So this is much needed support that the businesses and nonprofit organizations needed.
I've put the link to the Canada Summer Job Program in the caption of this post. So please do go check it out. And students who are looking for a job, jobs are posted on that website too. So these jobs are ranging from, like Jag said, nonprofit organizations, for-profit organizations. So there's multiple opportunities. And I think you need to be 17 to 30 years old.
18 to
or
30.
15 to, is it 18 to 30?
Yeah.
Okay.
From what I know, it's 18 to 30. So basically, right after you finish high school, that's when usually students start looking for jobs, right? So it's
no, perfect. So I have it in, actually it's 15 and 30.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I was told that it's
15 and
18 to
30.
30.
Yeah, it's
That's
15
even
and 30.
better.
So 3 more years.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's 15 and 30, and it's including nonprofit work, food industries, landscaping, marketing for anyone between the
Yeah.
ages of 15 and 30.
We actually had landscaping company who got it, a small little business that just started their business last year in the middle of pandemic. They got the funding, and we had, like I said, the gurdwaras, the churches, the animal shelter, basically all those, where the money's needed. I'm so happy that they got that.
I was going to ask that question too. What Puneet just said: can those business names be shared? One, of course, making that information public, and two, if other people in the community want to support these businesses, want to support these local businesses, they can.
I don't know the rules around that, whether I can disclose it or not, but I can give the categories. Like I said, landscaping, small businesses, like even security companies. Then there's the.
But if it is public funding, why can it not be disclosed?
I said I didn't say I
Look into
don't.
it.
Yeah, I didn't say I'm not going to do it. I just said that I don't know what the rules are around that. But yeah, something to look into for sure.
I think that would be a good idea, just to kind of publish that list,
Yeah.
so that other people, perhaps this landscaping company, like you said, that started last year. If I'm looking for a landscaper right now, so people can help each other out in these times.
And I agree, last year has been tough for small businesses, and a lot of them have been asking for support and looking for financial support as well. So that's a great idea. You know how they say buy local, shop local and all that. So that's a good idea. Actually, that idea came to me from a school as well, where the students said, "Could you please provide us a list of the businesses?" Right? Yeah.
Yeah, I think that would be really amazing. And also, if students are looking for jobs, they know that these companies have funding, and they would be hiring. So that'd be a great, provide them that information that you can go apply in these companies locally.
In fact, yeah, the first day to apply or to post the jobs was April 26th. So it just passed 4 days ago. So it should be popping up in my writing under different business names.
And what is the last date for posting jobs?
I think it's January 2022. So it's spread out over time. But don't quote me on that, because of pandemic, there's been a few changes. So this might not be the thing next year. Say we get out of this pandemic and we're all, open, the businesses are open, then we won't necessarily have these dates. So more details will be posted on my Facebook once I become aware of those.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Quickly wanted to talk to you about the C-10 as well, the Bill C-10. You're opposing it, your party is opposing it, and I signed the petition today already because I think there are some changes that need to be made before it's finalized. So talk to me about it. What is Bill C-10?
Well, it's the act to amend the Broadcasting Act. So the thing is that a lot of my constituents are not happy with it either, and a lot of Canadians. Basically what it does is then it's almost government censorship on what we can or can't say on social media, and people are not happy about that. We live in a free country like Canada, and there shouldn't be all these rules around it. So it's basically just censoring what goes put on online, on social sites. And we already have laws around that to protect, online hate and all that. So this is unnecessary, in my view.
So that would mean that CRTC would regulate a platform like TCCN as well,
Yeah.
or
Yes, anything that we put on Facebook, pretty much, for example, would be censored, and they would decide what goes on Facebook and what doesn't. So it's not a good bill. Maybe a little biased, but it's not a good bill.
I do understand the need, or I do understand their concern with the international streaming companies.
Which is fine. We do support it, that those international streaming companies like Netflix and all that, if they take our material, our media items, then they should pay for that. Yes, but not regulating normal citizens. Then you're taking the freedoms away. You're crossing the line. Then.
Yeah. Social media currently is a place where you can have that freedom of speech, where you can have that conversation, conversations that perhaps you won't be able to have those conversations in a regulated media. I don't know. But I don't truly like the idea of CRTC.
And that's why we have the petition, basically, even going on my website, basically to say, if you looked at the meme or the graphic that we put out, that basically tells you exactly, how we feel about it and how Canadians feel. Like I said, a lot of my constituents are reaching out to me, and my inbox has exploded because they're outraged and worried at the same time.
So we'll put that link to the petition in our caption as well. Sorry, I'm hearing my voice again. I'm hearing my echo again. So
you're fine on this end.
It's gone now. All right, I'll put the link to that petition in our in the caption of this post. One last question before you leave. So COVID situation is getting worse in the country, and recently Premier Ford in Ontario has been he basically pleaded with the Prime Minister to shut the borders down because things are getting worse. In Alberta, we got an emergency alert on our phones today. What do you think about the COVID situation? How do you think that the government has handled it? And do you think it could have been done better?
It could have been done better. That's simple, because we should have closed the borders a long time ago. Like last year when we were sitting in for our session, we started on January 26th, I believe, and we were calling for the borders to be shut down at that time to avoid what happened eventually here in Canada. So we were asking the borders to be shut, and we were asking for rapid tests to be available easily for Canadians to take it at home. For example, if the kids are going to school and they're coming back and their symptoms, do a test there. We were asking for rapid tests to be available at the airports. This could have been, the vaccine rollout is a disaster right now, because a lot of people are basically got their first shot, and now they're being told the next one is going to be in July or August. And these are vulnerable individuals anyways, to begin with, the older people. They're in their 60s, and it's hard to hear. Some of my constituents have called and said, my friend got the second shot within the 4-week period, but then when they call their own pharmacy, they said now the government has changed the program. Now you have to wait 4 months. So it's been devastating in that sense. And what we're watching in India, for example, it's heartbreaking to see that. And I was watching an interview today. One of the reporters, her father was cremated in the morning, and she's doing the interview in the afternoon. She said, we need help, basically, right? So, but the point is that we need to be doing more in terms of, like, we need to be taking steps faster. We need vaccines now, not 6 months later. The urgency is now, and that's what we need to do. We need to be more active. We need to be more in front of the COVID pandemic, not behind it, trying to, not reaction, but proactive actions, basically.
And I was reading in the papers today that UK is saying that if you have had only one shot, you are not immune against the variants.
That's what I heard too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and I read that today.
Yeah, and it's like I said, my grandma had to wait like 2 months to get her second shot, and she's 87 years old, right? And my dad got his first shot, but he's not going to get. We've been calling around and asking, because if something happens to dad, grandma's at home, right? The spreadability is still there. Just because you got one shot doesn't mean you're fully immune. In fact, they say that it's about 60%. I don't know the exact percentage, but they say you're not fully immune until you have the second one. And variant, why is the variant here? Variant is here. Had we vaccinated the population of Canada, then we probably wouldn't be in this situation. But America
And the
has done much
loopholes
better.
and the loopholes around the people coming through the land border. You can land in the US and then you can come into Canada through the land border, and then you don't have to quarantine either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is what we've been trying to tell basically the government, that they need to be more strict, right? If we really want to deal with this, then we need to be strict. And the borders, like I said, should have closed last year when we had our first COVID case in December 2019, and our borders weren't closed until probably end of March or April or May, somewhere there. I'm thinking,
yeah, it was late.
Yeah, it was late, and
Yeah.
yeah, it's been devastating to watch so
And
many
the land
people
border
lose.
is still open. So
I've
even
seen
now, even the flights from India are banned, or Pakistan are banned, the direct flights, but you can land in America and then you can come by land into
yeah, the
Canada.
loopholes are, that's not a good thing. I've heard the taxi business on the border is doing really well because people are. That's what I read on the in one of the news articles. I'm just sad that we are going through it and we're not. Well, the other countries are coming out of it. I've seen pictures of like American football stadiums filling up and all that, and then here we are going to what, third lockdown now, second or third. So
Yeah.
yeah,
So
situation is not getting.
in US, you don't have to wear a mask if you're fully immunized, and if you can hang out with other people who are fully vaccinated. You don't have to. You can go back to your social sports. You can do a lot more than you could do a few months ago.
And we're
Hopefully,
only
we'll get there
38.
too.
Yeah, and we're only 38 million, and America's like what, 370 million, and we have 25% of our population is got the first shot.
What
So,
could they have done better with the vaccine rollout?
well, we shouldn't have waited, for example, to sign a deal with CanSino for like 100 days. That put us behind. People were getting, like other countries were getting in line to get the vaccinations. And we were trying to strike a deal with CanSino, for example, the Chinese company, to get the vaccine. And then a couple days after the prime minister announced it, they pulled it back. They said, no, we're not giving you vaccination. That put us behind. And we're seeing it now, right? We kind of like, if one country's getting 100 million shots and then we get, what, 4 million? You know what I mean? Because we're at the
Time is
end
of
of
the
the,
essence.
yeah, exactly, especially in this case.
Well, fingers crossed. Hopefully, we are getting more Moderna next month. I think that's what they said.
Yeah. But like you said, that
Fingers
what
crossed.
happens with the variant, right? So is this effective or not? Like every day that goes by, we're suffering emotionally, those families who are going through that hardship of having to deal with COVID in their homes. And then we're dealing with a financial impact of it. The economy is not opening up. We should be opening up. We should have been thinking about this last year, not this year at this point. And there's no end in sight right now. And a lot of people are suffering from mental illnesses basically right now because they've been inside for so long.
And
Young
children.
kids. Yes,
Yeah.
young kids are suffering, and they, like I said before, they don't even know what was happening initially. I saw a YouTube video of a young girl who was just born, like maybe 3 or 4 months before COVID happened. Anything she sees, she goes, puts her hand underneath, thinking it's hand sanitizer. that's what her life has been all about for the last year, right? So children's lives were turned upside down, and teenagers, you know how your friends are your everything. They're not necessarily with their friends all the time, or they can't do those activities. So it's been devastating. A lot of people who have had their loved ones pass away in hospitals and they couldn't be around them. Like, for example, our grandpa, we had never left him alone in our lives. And then at the end, we weren't there. Like, can you imagine not understanding the language and then going through all of that yourself? So the impacts have been bigger than we even realized. One of my assistant, his grandpa is sick in England. He can't go visit him, and the doctors have given his grandpa until July, and then he won't be able to meet his grandpa. So it's been hard. It's been hard for Canadians, and we're proud of the fact that they've dealt with it so well, and they've been, there for each other. But at the same time,
you wish that the government had done better.
Much better. They could have. But
well, thank you so much. Yeah, sorry. Thank you so much for giving us your time. I know your time is very tight, but still you made time for us.
Thank you, of course. Always, Roop. Thank you for the opportunity.
I'll put all the information that we talked about in the caption. So if you have to look up the Canada Job Support Program, it's in the caption. If you look up the petition that JAG is spearheading right now, that's also in the caption. So please do check those links out. Thank you so much. Bye.